X amount, um, X amount of places away from other people so that you can see it. So you can kind of stay away from other people and the social distancing continues. Um, but hey, Kris,
Hey, Robert, how are you?
I'm wonderful. I'm super excited to invite Kris Jenner, who I'm sure everybody knows, to our little Instagram live. So, Kris, we've been doing these now for a while because we noticed a lot of the small businesses out there are really struggling, and it's more about uncertainty and what the world looks like, and all of that kind of stuff. And it can be a scary
Crazy.
time.
Yeah, I know. I feel just really challenged right now in all areas. I think everybody does because, first and foremost, it's just giving thanks to all the people on the front lines and everybody who's been there and helped all of the rest of us just stay, healthy and hopeful and try to fight this thing. It's so scary because it is a time when we never expected not even to have enough equipment, enough
Right.
personal protection, enough all of those things that everybody's trying to figure out. And so, number one is staying alive and healthy. And number two is trying, it's such an unprecedented time and none of us have a crystal ball. So the health first and then figuring out really what comes next for everybody business wise, because it's all of these businesses shutting down is the hugest trickle effect that I've ever seen in my life.
And so
Um,
quickly.
Fast and complete industries having to shut down and factories and restaurants and we know the list, but it's just so interesting how it's going to be when we come out of this and come past this, and that's what is the unknown. That's the
To
scary
your
part.
point about the frontline workers, we like you and so many other people are trying to give back where we can. And we tried to put together, Kim and I, a little video because we bought some food for some of the hospitals and stuff like that.
That's so
And
great.
well, we tried to record a little video to thank them, and I had to record it like 20 times because you think of the sacrifice that these people are making. And I can work remotely. I'm sure most of your businesses can work remotely.
Hmm.
And I feel like we're in almost a privileged position to be able to adapt our business.
Absolutely.
But a lot of these frontline workers just, they're out there every day, and it's really tough on them. How are you coping with everything? How are you adapting? How
you
are you
know
guys doing?
Well, we're adapting and it's been interesting. But just to one point, I wanted to add to what you just said about frontline workers. I found it, a lot of times in life, we've been asked to give money, and we do. And you give to a cause and you hope it goes to the right place, and
Right.
you pray that the right people are being helped. And I remember when there was the fires in Australia, and Kylie called me up and she said, Mommy, I really want to, give some money to the fires in Australia. I go, okay, we organized that. And then you hope that that is being, taken care of the right way. Well, in this case, we were asked, to give, Kylie said she wanted to give some money to the frontline workers and take care of like masks and if hazmat suits. At that time, we didn't know what was needed and the shields and everything. And so I called Dr. Aliabadi at Cedars. We call her Dr. A, and we said, listen, we'd like to get some stuff going. And so anyway, she helped facilitate this whole thing. And what I think is so remarkable about all of this is we were actually able to see it being made,
Hmm.
coming in on the pallets, and being distributed. And every day she gave us a list of all the hospitals that were being blessed that day, which was so remarkable. And then she called me up one day and said, hey, do you mind if we send some of this stuff to New York or, to this city and to that city? And so we were able to see exactly where it was going and how it was being used and how fast it went, which was shocking. Like what, in days it would be gone and you'd have to order more. So that was fascinating for me in a real positive way, because I felt like everyone can make a difference, no matter how big or how small the donation. But this is a time when you absolutely know where this is needed and where your money's going and how it's being
So
distributed.
true.
It was so rewarding,
You
or
see
just
it right there.
and interesting, just to be able in a crazy way, just to be able to see the exact process. So I don't think we can give enough. Right now it's definitely needed, but I just wanted to give thanks to everybody on the front lines who are working on all our behalfs.
Kris, tell me, have your businesses been affected, or have you been able to transition with the new world order and working remotely?
We have built a large sustainable business based on direct to consumer. And that was always our business model from the beginning. I think Kylie was we were very lucky because she kind of was this disruptor in 2016, 17 with her business, and was able to learn how to communicate with the consumer and her fans and her followers early on. And that gave us a great deal of a leg up building our business on that business model. And
What's remarkable to me, what I think a lot of people don't realize is it hasn't been that long. I agree with you. You guys have really been a disruptor of that direct to consumer online push, but it hasn't been 5 years. It's
right.
only been a few years that you've been
Yeah.
able to achieve that.
I think that what people can learn from this at the end of the day, I mean, listen, we're learning something every day. We learn, we tweak, we try to figure out what the consumer is really asking for. I think you really have to pay attention to your customer and your brand. I think having social media, having Instagram and all the things that are available to us, Snapchat and Twitter and Facebook, all of it, all these platforms, you can really, it's like having a built-in focus group. You can really start to test the waters and find out what your customer is really asking for. Because I think in the beginning, all of us were very comforted and, by baking banana bread. And, I was making 12 cakes a day. I can't even zip my pants up anymore. But I mean, there was this comfort in what movie to watch and what to bake and what to eat. And it was comforting. And then there is that big segment of people that is very hopeful, that isn't as disrupted as other people. And they still want to, they're home alone. They might be bored, but they still want to know what the latest thing is, or they still want to shop, or they still want to buy something that makes them feel happy. So
And
I think
Kris,
you just have to find that balance.
I love what you said. On Shark Tank, we always think we're a bit of a mirror to the economy. So when we started Shark Tank, it was during the 2008 recession. It was all about
Oh, wow. Yeah.
cash. How do I get a loan? And for the last couple of years, it's been all about online engagement. In the past, people used to come on and say, can you help me get into Kmart? Can you help me get into Bed Bath and Beyond?
Right. It was
Whereas
about the retailer.
for the last year, we've been like, why do you want to go to Bed Bath and Beyond? Why do you want to go to those retailers?
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any advice for someone who may not be online today and they're a small business? How do you get there? Like what would you be doing today if you can share with us some of that advice?
Well, I think that if you're going to start, I think that starting an online business is super smart. And I think that you have to, this window of time gives that person, that business owner, time to create a website, and really, depending on what the thing is that their business is, will dictate what that might look like and what might be appealing to somebody else, and do some homework and find out what people are wanting, what kind of business might be something that would work. But you know what? I find every time, people have asked me this for years, and I'm sure they ask you the same thing, is, what kind of a business should I go into? And I think it's really hard to go into a business that you're not really excited about, because it's too difficult to try and learn a new craft and be passionate about something you know nothing about. It's great to keep learning in life. and adding new things to your, to your brain and but to start off a business at these times in life, I think it has to be something that you already know a little bit about, or you're really excited about learning about. So
I
it
have a
becomes
lot of,
easy.
hobbies. I love, I love fast cars, and I love this and I love
Yes.
that, but none of those things are my business. They're hobbies. And it's less, people ask me that all the time. I've never
Right.
met somebody truly successful that can't talk my ear off about their business. And I think if you're going to,
Yes.
if you're going to enter something, not only do you have to be interested and passionate about it,
Hmm.
you got to know something about it. And you
Yeah.
got to know more than I know.
Exactly. And I think we've learned so much along the way. And I think that, it is a learning experience. Being online, the business changes every day. The analytics change every day. The numbers change every day. What the consumer wants changes every day. So that makes it very ripe for a lot of opportunity,
Are you
you
a
know?
big analytics person, Kris? Are you a big numbers person? Are you analyzing, like when you post something or you send something out there, are you constantly looking at the numbers?
Well, my team is. I love numbers and I love learning all about what's happening during the day. And there's nothing that I love more than discussing all of these things with my team. And I have a couple of people. My girl Jen is one of them, Jen Cohen, who works on my team, and she's like a walking analytic thing. She's just amazing. And we talk all day long, about what's happening and what's needed, and also about, um, what the needs are on the front line. And she's able to pull a lot of information. So for us in our business, information is key. And I think it really does keep things going. And we're lucky that we have businesses that, that people do want to participate in because they are comforting, like Kim Skims and our skincare and things that make sense. I think people are going to want to buy what they need, and they're going to want to buy what makes them feel good.
I also think that, some of those products, like you mentioned, are small luxuries,
Oh,
meaning they're not
100%.
a big price point. And I think what we're seeing now on the economic data, those kind of things are continuing to be bought and are actually increasing in
Hmm.
terms of purchases. Because I think, when things are hard, you want comfort.
You do. You do. You really do. What are those? Oh my gosh. What are those pajamas that you had on Shark Tank? The
Oh,
Christmas uh,
Tipsy Elves.
Tipsy Elves. Do you know how we have bought Tipsy Elves over the years for my family and I, and we all match, every holiday. And I could use a good pair of Tipsy Elves right
All
now. I
right.
might have to. I've been watching Christmas movies, so I might have to support your business today,
I'm
Robert,
going
and
to
get
send
me
them
some
to you.
Tipsy Elves. No,
Yeah,
I want to buy them. I want to support. So don't
thank
you
you.
dare. Don't you
Um,
dare. We'll pay it forward to somebody else.
when people come on Shark Tank, going back to the numbers, it amazes me how many people don't know the numbers and confuse what they need to know. So people always say to me, well, I'm not an accountant. I don't know the numbers.
Right.
And I'm like, look, you don't need to be an accountant, but every business has a heartbeat. There is a couple
Yes.
of numbers in every business that tells you which way you're going. And you've got to know that number. It's okay not to know the receivables or certain
Right.
balance sheet items. You don't need to know that. But if you don't know the lifeblood and the heartbeat of your business, you're going to be in trouble.
Yeah. Yeah. I've learned so much over the years, back when we started filming our show and just, got into different businesses and got, thrown a lot of spaghetti at the wall and made a lot of mistakes, along the way. But I think that these days, I feel like, having that information at your fingertips is key, and really
Critical.
knowing what, for these people that are starting these businesses online, I think it's a great opportunity to increase your profit margin. because
Very
that's
much.
always been so great when you have a solely owned business, or you have a partner who has a small piece, and try to keep, as we build these brands online, try to keep most of it for yourself, not have so many partners, but if you
Well,
can.
so many layers, so many middle layers,
Yes,
wholesale,
yes,
distribution. In the computer
exactly.
business, Michael Dell became who he is by selling direct to consumers. He was the first one to do that. Kris, is there anything that you don't like online? When you see somebody trying to sell online, is
Hmm.
there, I mean, thank you for all that great advice on how to do it, but is there anything that you would tell people just really irks you or bothers you?
Well, I've said this a million times. My number one pet peeve online is all the bullies and the negativity. I think there's no room for that anymore. I think we're all out there trying to do our best. And for all the people that are going to be coming online, it's a very scary place and a very dark place if you're up against a lot of the BS and the people that come on and criticize for absolutely no reason because they have nothing else to do. So I think to be kinder through all of this is my hope and my prayer, that people will stop all of the bullying, because that can really scare somebody off. Me and my
Yeah.
family, we have really tough skin, and we've been doing it a really long time. So, as far as, being in the public eye and being out there. But the internet can be a very intimidating place for people that haven't done it before. And so you really have to just tune out the criticism and do you. And that's the adversity that we've overcome as far as online businesses have, go. Because, you do have people that will criticize your product and tell you how awful it is, and then 6 months later, you can't get it because it's sold out every day.
Right.
So you
I,
just have to stay true to yourself. And if somebody says no, you're talking to the wrong person.
I have to tell you, I respect you guys so much for that, because the adversity and the tough skin, so much easier said than done,
Right?
right? And
I know.
people always assume that if you get to a certain level of success, everything just skates off your back. That doesn't bother you. People always assume that when you have some success, that there's never a bad day, that you've kind of entered this magical door where everything is beautiful. It's puppies and unicorns every single day. And it's so
Yes.
not true.
Yes, I agree. And I think as a business owner, it's funny. I was talking to my team this morning before I hopped on this call, and we were saying how busy we are, and how, for the first few days I was making banana bread and lemon cake, and, making everybody dinner all day long, and lunch and breakfast, and being a mommy. But lately it's been like, I don't know where the day goes, because you're just hopping from one call to the other, putting out one fire after another, trying to come up with another idea, so I think it will be also a great way to spend time, is to create something new, because it's very time consuming. It's very creative. I think it'll be a chance for people to really, stretch their imaginations and work on something new that they had never thought of before, and really, kind of go within yourself and think, okay, what am I going to do? I need a plan B.
Right.
And
I love that. I love that. You know what? I was on an interview yesterday, and what I said was, don't come out of this without having gained something.
that's right.
And it can be as simple as learning Spanish, or getting in shape, or starting a business, or creating a plan. But if you're in pain and you're going through hell, learn from it. Get something
Yes.
out of it.
Yes. And they say that it's how a person handles adversity, and how a person handles the worst of times. Uh, and it kind of shows their true character, because we all have really bad moments. We all have ugly times. But I think it's important also. Here's what I think. I was saying this to my mother yesterday. I really think it's important for us to lift each other up. Like I want to, like, I'll watch, for example, Good Morning America, and I watch that whole team, and they come to work and they try to dress in something colorful, is why I have this bright shirt on.
Me
But
too. Somebody said to me, stop wearing dark colors. It's depressing.
you need a purple sweatshirt.
I do.
So you need one of your elves, the
Tipsy
Tipsy elves. You need to
Yes.
put on your Tipsy elves. Hello, great marketing tool. Come on, Robert. But yeah, so I think for us to check in on one another's mental health is super important, because everybody's going to go up and down and have a bad day. Last week, I had a whole day where I thought I was going to cry any second for absolutely no reason. I was just so worried about everybody. And I think that we have to check on each other, even though we seem fine. If you say to somebody, how are you doing? Oh, I'm fine. Maybe they're not fine. So I think just keep checking on your loved ones and take care of each other, and really, worry about that side of it too, because not everybody has it together.
So, Kris, I appreciate your time. I'm not going to keep you much longer. I just want to ask you one final question.
Yes.
Just personally curious to see what you say. I ask everybody this. You've achieved so much. You've met so many successful people. If you had to summarize it, would you say there are 2 or 3 characteristics that you've met with people that are successful in business that stand out for you?
Like their characteristics as a person?
Yeah. Like, what do you think are the 2 or 3 things you need to have in order to be successful in business?
Well, I think a tremendous amount of energy would help, because, and being thoughtful. But I think that people that I've met that are super successful are usually people that have an incredible work ethic, and they have they're workaholics, which isn't always the greatest quality. But, I'm not going to lie. I mean, I catch myself working way too many hours in normal times, obviously, but working way too many hours and being totally obsessed with what I'm doing. And you have to find a balance eventually. I think to start anything and make it really super successful, you have to throw yourself into it. You have to eat it, live it, breathe it, be obsessed with it. And then once you get that puppy off the ground, you can delegate a little bit more. But I think you have to stay engaged, Robert. I don't think, I'll give you one example. When Courtney and I and the girls had our stores long ago, when we first started shooting our show, Smooch and Dash, when we were there and we were engaged, the stores did great. The minute we weren't there for the day, everything kind of fell apart. And I've kind of used that as my rule of thumb throughout my career, throughout all of the businesses that we've done and developed, and really, and I've learned a lot from my girls. Like, I don't think Kim sleeps at all. I don't know what's happening, but she's like an astronaut. She must sleep while she's still working or something. But I think it's just that dedication and that belief and passion in what you really are trying to do.
Gosh, those are such great points. I always say, if you're not the most passionate person that I'm talking about in your business, then why would I deal with you? And even when you have nothing, be the source of joy. When I had my first business, Kris, people would say to me, because I'm in a very technical field, but I'm not an engineer. So people were amazed that I could sell technology that I really didn't understand at the time. But when we asked our customers why they bought from us, they said, because you're so passionate about it and you're fun to deal with. And I think especially in these really hard times, you've got to be passionate, you've got to be engaged, and you've got to be positive. Nobody wants to deal with somebody negative.
Yes, I agree. Joyful is key. I think if you can be joyful and try to add something to somebody's life and make somebody smile every day. Oh, and can I add one more thing about like these entrepreneurs starting a new business?
Yes,
I think it's very helpful if when you're starting something online, if you can take a percentage, even a tiny percentage, and give back to a really great cause, whatever that might be for you, people will really gravitate towards that.
Oh my gosh, That is
right?
such a great point. You know, another trend we've seen on Shark Tank, all of our successful investments now do that. SandCloud, Tipsy Elves, they all take a percentage of the profit and give it for a greater cause. And I think that is great advice because people want to be connected with your cause.
Right. And some people don't know how to give back or can't give back as much as they'd like. But if they feel like they're supporting a small business, which I love to do, I think that that's really helpful if they're giving back something, because then you feel like you're giving back
Right.
and your money's
First,
going to a great cause. Anyway.
thank you for your time. Your joy and your message is so inspiring. I have so much respect for what you've built. And I know
Thank
you've helped
you.
so many people with some of this great advice. Talk to you
Thank
soon.
you. Thank you, Robert. Same back to you. Lots of
All right.
love.
Lots of love. Thank you.